he's got the time to sit down, do his little posters, pin them up, and then stare across at us in the room who are actually doing something.
I can't stop Trump, but I can stop them in that pub. That half the men in the room push back on my book when I talks about how the state of the country is really down to weak English men.
You did a presentation in Manchester City Centre on your book, and you stood and talked for about an hour on the book, which is really interesting. I was there, as was quite a packed audience. I would say maybe 50 to 100 people were there. They were standing at the back, actually. Nick. I was sitting down drinking beer, but everybody else was standing. What was really interesting about that, and I was quite shocked, during the presentation, there are some flats across from the room where we were at. We're at the top floor of the pub. I won't mention the name of the pub. One of your audience suddenly shouted out, "Oh, they've stuck up posters there," and there were two posters they stuck up in the window, obviously directed at you and us. One said, "Bigots are weird," and the other one said,
accused us of being the KKK.
CCC, so it's called Rob the Americans and your group, isn't it? It's called Cancelling Cancel Culture. And that's exactly what it is. It's a free speech group. Cancelling Cancel Culture, it said CCC equals KKK. So they were equating the room of people to the Ku Klux Klan. Now, two things were wrong with that. Firstly, none of us were wearing white outfits with KKK hoods. And the second thing is there were about 4 Asian people, including myself.
Black person.
A black person as well.
Some gay people.
A number of gay. Which were the gay people? Oh, tell me after.
I know the gay because I've known them several years.
Oh, right, okay.
I know the gay.
That's obviously the circles you move in, which is fine because I've got nothing against gay people.
You just out yourself as a homophobe, there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, add it to the Anglophobia, and a number of gay people as well. It was quite a diverse group in there.
A communist. One of them's a communist.
Oh, one's a communist.
Yeah. One of the ladies there is a communist.
And I glanced over at the room, and there was only what I can describe as a young man in his bedroom in that flat.
Could you see anyone in there?
I saw a little bloke, a very small bloke with a beard.
Oh, right. I couldn't see anybody.
I just thought, how sad.
It was surreal. It actually made me giggle. I found it really funny.
I just thought
and they were well done posters.
Yeah, I thought how sad. It's a Sunday afternoon, so we're out doing things, being engaged, having a drink, chatting or whatever. He's sitting in his room, this little incel, spending ages doing his little posters, because they were quite well done,
They were very well done.
So Sunday afternoon, he's got the time to sit down, do his little posters, pin them up, and then stare across at us in the room who are actually doing something.
I can't stop Trump, but I can stop them in that pub.
And this really is the intolerance of the left, isn't it? They know nothing about that group, know nothing about what your book is about, know nothing about the club, and nothing about the people in the room.
It was a free event. He could have come in.
Yeah, he could have come over with his little posters.
Yeah, and then seen what was going on, and then challenged it with questions if he didn't like what was going on.
Yeah. So to that little incel, just F off, you arsehole.
Yeah.
You're just an idiot. You're a sad little bloke who doesn't even know what he's actually protesting about. And I think it sums up a lot of the way the left are. They don't actually, when they call Trump a racist, when they call you a racist or a fascist they don't know. They've never actually heard anything. When they call J.K. Rowling a transphobe, they don't actually know or can't actually quote anything that she has said.
They never can. They never can.
They form opinions based on no information and then do stupid things like that.
Simple people with simple information who just want simplicity.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And I know you're anti-violence, Nick, but I'd be quite happy to see that guy and give him a hard slap in the face.
No.
Yes.
We can't be doing stuff like that.
Yes, he deserves it. If that's inciting violence, I'm happy to do it.
He's pathetic, but he has every right to put posters up in his window. He does. It was harmless. Actually, it made me giggle. I found it quite funny. But what didn't make me giggle was I was quite surprised at the talk that half the men in the room pushed back on my book when I talked about how the state of the country is really down to weak Englishmen.
Yes, well, because you were calling everybody in the room a weak Englishman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was quite surprised how half the men in the room were not prepared to take any responsibility for anything that's gone wrong in the country.
Yeah, well, I think if you put a talk together and then you look out at the audience and say, half of you are shit, I think that's kind of the response you'll get, Nick, isn't it? Which is what you did.
In hindsight, it's a good job I wasn't trying to sell books, wasn't it?
Yes. A lot of people are actually asking for the book. You should have brought some of the books with you to sell.
I don't have any to sell. You buy them on Amazon.
All right, okay. Well, you could buy 20 and then bring them along to people to sign.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting point you raised, and I feel slightly not included in the group you accused, because you were basically saying, you people haven't done anything. You should be doing. If you people stood up, said something, and did something, then we wouldn't be in the mess we're in. That's basically what you were saying.
That was part of it. I think what I was trying to say to them, which might have been poor communication skills on my part, what I was trying to say to them was, it's okay looking for people to blame for the destruction of the country. Somebody was going about communism and globalization. Somebody else was going on about the elite. And you've all got a point, and that they're all part of the problem.
Yeah.
But if we had stronger men in the country, those ideologies wouldn't ever take off.
Would never have taken place.
Those elite never would have abused us in the first place. So the reason why this country's failing is because of weak English men. That doesn't mean every man in the country is a weak man. It just means as a whole, as a group, we're weaker than we used to be. And that was the point I was trying to make. But some people weren't having it.
No, I think you made it, albeit clumsily. You made the point, but I think what you were trying to say, Nick, and I'll paraphrase here just to make you aware of what you should have said.
Right.
And by the way, all this is in your book, England, My England. I think what you're actually saying is people should stand up and say things and do things. And Rob the American, our friend, who, by the way, I'll come back to him in a minute, because I met him in London yesterday, purely coincidentally, in a casino. I wasn't in there to gamble, gentle viewers, just in case you're thinking that. Rob the American gets very exercised about this. Now, he, with you, has set up the Cancelling Cancel Culture Club.
He set that up.
He set it up before you.
Yeah.
He's trying to do something. Yeah. He's an American. He's not an Englishman. He's an American. He's a naturalised American, I think. I think he's got his British passport now.
Yeah.
Really nice guy. Very active. And when I met him in London, he was at a Free Speech Union basically. But he's doing something.
Yep.
He's seen this shit. He's not happy about it. And he's trying to do something. So he set up the CCC, which you're now part of. I attend as well. He attracts people and he gets people talking. I've seen him in conversations where he will not back down when somebody says something stupid like trans women are women or whatever. He will not back down in that. He will always stand up for it. And we're also in a WhatsApp group. And recently, one of the members of the WhatsApp group, in fact, the person who set it up, it's related to the National Culture Forum, this group, but not part of the National Culture Forum. He was saying things like, oh, marches are no good, it's a waste of time. Will people never learn? And I sent him a list of marches, I think 7, I forgot to tell you about this, about 7 times, for example, in Sri Lanka, in various other places, where people have taken to the streets, and as a result, they've overthrown their government. So it does happen, and it can happen, that protest, peaceful protest, can... I mean, Gandhi's a massive example of that. Peaceful protest can overthrow a regime, and whatever. So I sent him this list, and then he said, oh, well, where violence isn't involved. But they weren't violent, these protests. But so this guy constantly goes on about we can't do anything, it's the end, nothing possible. And it infuriates Rob, and Rob had a massive...
That's what I call a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yes, yeah.
Nothing can be done, there's no point trying, so nothing changes. Yes. I told you nothing can be done.
Yeah. And I think that's the weakness of men you're talking about. That's what you're describing. And I think you're spot on. I feel slightly virtuous here because I am doing one thing and this is it. I'm sitting with you, we're talking, and we know that people are watching and hearing